Hello, Math 133 students. I received a question about this problem, which is 3.3.1 in MyStatLab. Of course, where it falls in your particular assignment, it's probably number 1, but it might not necessarily be. So I'm going to click on Question Help, and I will do the example, and in so doing, I will help you with the actual problem. So recently, a random sample of 13 to 18-year-olds was asked, how much do you currently have in savings? The data in the table represent the response to the survey, approximate the mean and standard deviation of savings. So I'm going to click on this little icon. And down here, I've got an option. So I can open in StatCrunch, which is a proprietary software that we're allowed to use for free because we're in MyStatLab, and that would work. Or we could copy to clipboard, or we could open in Excel. I'm going to open it in Excel, just because that's how I feel like rolling today. All right, here we go. And then I'm going to make this all much larger so you can actually read any of it on your tiny screens. So give me 1 second. Make those fonts all a little bit bigger for us to see. And we don't need this garbage. Okay, so here we have our lovely table. And you could do this on paper. You know, there's nothing special about Excel. Well, except I'm going to make Excel do some stuff for us. I'm starting to do it without even thinking. I apologize. Okay, so what we need is we need the midpoints. And they very kindly gave us the lower values and the upper values. Wasn't that nice of them? And the frequencies. Now the frequencies we desperately need. The frequencies are going to go into L2. Right, so that part we definitely need. But we also need to know the midpoints. So I'm going to click on this cell or this column right here. So I move my arrow up so it's up near the C. Then I right click and I click Insert. And I'm going to put in midpoints. Right, the midpoints are the other values I'm going to need. So I'm going to highlight those in yellow so we can see. Now, to find a class midpoint, what you're looking for is the number that's in the middle of this first column, right? This first area, this first bin from 0 to 199. Now, a lot of students say, oh, I should just add 0 and 199 and divide by 2. Au contraire. So the thing is that it's not really 199. What it is 199.9999999 forever. Okay, well, we can't do that. We can't type that into a calculator. So what we'll do is we'll take 0 and the next bar starts at 200. So we take 0 plus 200, and I can actually just type it like that. So equals parentheses 0 plus 200, close parentheses, divide by 2. And it would work that way on your calculator as well if you want to do it that way if you're working off paper and pencil. And that's totally fine if you are, right? So it's 0 plus 200 divided by 2. Okay, so for the next one, if I want to find its class midpoint, it'd be 200, which is the lower value, and then this is 399.9 forever. So instead of doing that, we would do 400. So you take equals, parentheses, 200 plus 400, close parentheses, divide by 2. See why Excel is so nice? Now, the other things to think about, I could do this with a formula. So I could say, because I have this in Excel, instead of 0 plus 200, I could say this cell plus this cell divided by 2, because it's doing the same thing. And then if I drag that formula down, it'll actually find them all for me, with the exception of the last one, because the last one, it doesn't know what the next number would be. Since this is 1399, the next number will be 1400. So that's one way you could do it. Or you could sit there with the formulas that I had before and do it by hand. Or you could notice that every single one of these is 200 apart, right? 0 to 200, 200 to 400, 400 to 600 is all 200. So your class width is 200. Oop, 200. Well, since the class width is 200, that's a different way I could do. Rather than dragging that formula like I had before, I could find that first class for myself, and then I could say equals that last class, which is C2, plus 200. Enter. So it took the last midpoint, added 200 to it. And then if I go to the bottom right corner, turn it into that little plus sign and drag it down, there we go. And see, I didn't need that extra 1400 down here to make it work. It all just worked out that way. Or you could sit there and, figure out every single problem. Realize that the next class must start at 1400. That's the one thing to pay attention to if you're going to do it the long way, which is sitting there with the formula every time. But me personally, I think that if the width is similar, or width is the same across the whole table. If all these numbers are 200 apart and all these numbers are 200 apart, then it's easier just to add 200. Start with the first one and then just add 200 and away you go. Okay, so this list and this list are what we need. And in our calculators, this is going to be L1 and this is going to be L2. Right, so this, I'll make this one yellow, that's L1, and this list over here, actually, let me put it up above just so you guys can see it. That's where I would normally label it. This will be L1, this will be L2. And then we'll grab the calculators and type those values in. So let me grab my calculator right here. I go to Stat, I go to Edit, I go up and press Clear, Enter. I type 100, 300, 500. This is going to be very boring, but you got to type them in and type them in carefully. If you mess up one number, the whole answer will be wrong and you won't know why. So type very carefully and then press your arrow over to the right and then type in your frequencies. There we go. Got them all in. So L1 is my X values and L2 is my frequency of X values. Then I'm going to go to Stat. I'm going to move to the right to Calculate. Pick number 1, one variable stat. It should say list L1, frequency list L2, and move down to calculate and press enter. Now, if you don't see the list and frequency list and you have a TI-84, that means that you actually have an old calculator and you would need to upgrade it to the newest kind, or not the newest kind of calculator, the newest kind of calculator operating system. That's free. So for any TI-84, you can upgrade it for free by connecting to the TI website. There are videos for how to do it online on YouTube. The Center for Student Success can help you do it if you're ever on Central Campus. I can help you do it in office hours. It's free. So you just connect your calculator to your computer and you can upgrade it. 83s, you have no choice. You have to do it the old way, and I have videos for that on YouTube. All right, so you can see that the mean and the standard deviation are right here. So the mean is 250.19219, and then the standard deviation, because this was a sample, is 236.355. So let me write that up. So the mean amount saved was 250.19, and then the standard deviation amount would be S, which is and these would both be dollars, right? So this is dollars because this is the amount of money that you're saving. And then S, because this was a sample, would be 236.36. 236.36. All right, so let's go double check me real quick before I finish the video and make sure that I'm right. So I'd say done with that. They're showing how to do it by hand, but we don't need that. See, they're finding all the midpoints. There they are. Etc. So, they were rounding to the nearest dollar even. So they're going 236 and 250. And sure enough, that matches us. So if we round this would be 250 and that would be 236. And we're all set.